calling a mayday, mayday, mayday.
Firefighting is an exciting career, and here in the city of Franklin, we have recruits from across the country vying for the few openings we get each year. The training is vigorous and intensive over a 10-week period. Some say it's the best training in the region, and Franklin provides the finest equipment and latest technology to our firefighting team. In this video, you'll get to see some of the highlights of the training as we follow a few new recruits through the first day to graduation.
Each of you have passed a lot of hurdles to get to this point in your career. And, you know, we hire people based on character and attitude. And so each one of you has met that test when it comes to both of those core values in life. So, welcome to the Franklin Fire Department again. My name is Chief Rocky Garsrick. I happen to be the fire chief here.
These new fire recruits to the Franklin Fire Department come from as far away as California and as close as Almaville, Tennessee. They all have one thing in common: to be a firefighter and serve the community. After meeting the team of the Franklin Fire Department and hearing from the chief, the new recruits' first step is to get fitted for their fire gear. Dustin Anderson came from California originally and says the dream of being a firefighter started when he was a boy.
I'm actually considered a fifth-generation firefighter. I'm blessed to say that. My father worked for 30 years with the Orange County Fire Authority, and then my grandfather and great-grandfather both worked for Long Beach Fire Department, putting in full careers. And then my great-great-great-grandfather was actually a firefighter in the state of Kansas.
When Dustin got the call that he got the job in Franklin, it was an emotional experience for him.
I broke down in tears. I was so excited because I'm getting married in October, and one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life was to give up my job to move here as a firefighter working in New Mexico, and to be able to test and get the jobs, you know, relatively so quickly, and to be able to start a family and start my career in the same year, it's just overwhelming emotion. So it was just one of the best days of my life.
For Rory Richards, it was the excitement of the rescue that drew him to a firefighting career.
After graduating high school, I had plans to be a Marine, go to the Marine Corps, and wanted to do crash fire rescue. Couldn't get it. So I guess the next best thing was going to be a firefighter, civilian firefighter. One of my best friend, all growing up, talked me into going to EMT school with him and started doing EMS, and then got hired at a local fire department where I'm from and just fell in love with it.
On Rory's first day, he feels like every new recruit, ready to get this day under his belt.
At first I was a little nervous walking in, but Chief Garzik and Chief Culverson and everybody we met has been so helpful, super nice to us. Just, it's a lot easier feeling than what I had planned for. You know, I'm not used to coming to an apartment where you get everything you need on the first day, and I'm a little bit relieved, still a little bit nervous. I'm pretty confident that I can live up to the standards of the Franklin Fire Department, and just hope I do what they want me to.
Christopher Shadowins has been working to get on the Franklin Fire Department for years. He spent his career as a volunteer firefighter in Almaville, Tennessee. Today, he's excited to continue his career in a paying, full-time position.
It's unbelievable how far the volunteer department has come. We from doing our in-house training to now they're actually doing structured training. It's just come a long way, and I just want to further that and build on that.
The first few weeks, the recruits learn the Franklin Fire Department organizational structure and history. Deputy Chief Mike Culberson has been with the department for 32 years. He is a second-generation firefighter, and his father was a former chief of the Franklin Fire Department.
Chief Fox and I have done recruit classes all over the state. But here, you're in your own environment. your own world. You can teach them like Franklin style, and seeing them start basically with nothing, and at the end of 10 weeks, they walk out of the graduation day and they're ready to go on shift and fight their first fire. You know, there's no amount of money that can, or I don't know how to describe it. It's self-esteem, self-pride, whatever you want to call it.
We identify the physical states of fire. This should be just a review for a lot of you.
Recruits must complete more than 300 hours of classroom and hands-on training in order to graduate. Chief Gentry Fox covers the fundamentals of fire behavior in the classroom.
In fire behavior, we're learning what it takes to start, initiate a fire, or to extinguish the fires, how fires will react inside of a structure, outside of a structure, the fundamentals of extinguishment of a fire, things like that.
During week 2 of the training, the recruits are learning the many facets of forcible entry. The guys are required to be dressed in full turnout gear to make this exercise as close to reality as possible.
The biggest thing is safety for us. The longer a fire burns inside a building, the worse shape that building's in and the bigger fire is going to get. And that's all bad for us when we do go in, because now we've got a bigger problem or a potentially unsafe building that we're going to be inside of. So getting in a hurry is a big deal for us. Getting out is just as important. If we get in a fire situation and a firefighter gets in trouble, we need to have a way for them to get out of the building in a hurry. So forcing exits for us once we're inside is just as valuable as forcing entry to get inside in the first place.
The trainees learn several different methods of forcible entry, all involving heavy tools.
We did some work in the classroom with what they call through the lock techniques, where we pull the cylinders out of locks, manipulate the mechanisms to allow us to open a door, and then lock it behind us when we leave. We're also doing some work with the saw over here, doing forcible entry through heavier doors. And then we've got what we call the irons around back, which is a combination of an axe and a Halligan tool, which is a prying tool that we use.
That went too well. I said that went too well. No, I'm afraid I ran over some cones.
It's week 3 now, and the firefighter trainees are getting a course in fire truck driver safety. It's called Vanessa K. Free Training that was enacted in Tennessee in 2005. The training promotes emergency vehicle safety procedures and is named for a young college girl who was killed in 2002 after a police car en route to an emergency struck her vehicle and killed her in Chattanooga. The firefighters will get a certificate upon satisfactory completion of the training. The state requires 2 hours of this training every year.
The apparatus that we drive, they're over 26,000 pounds, where normal cars are around 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. And these are loaded with water. And when you go to make a curve, you can feel the water shift in the back. And so you have to know how to handle the water. You have to know how to handle the extra weight. That entails going down an alley, going forward and backing through a serpentine, and then backing into a small space. So there's several things that they'll have to do out on the driving course.
During week 5, the recruits are in full turnout and going through a drill where their mask is blacked out as if in a heavy smoke incident. They cannot see and must enter a building to rescue a fallen firefighter.
This is actually based on an incident that we had in Franklin where we had a firefighter that actually fell through a burned out floor into a crawl space. So after that, we identified the need to have a very consistent set of how we're going to handle these emergencies if we have a firefighter down.
In this exercise, the firefighter is supposed to follow the rope line into the smoky building and radio to his team outside the building his whereabouts. Once he goes up the stairs, the floor will drop, and the firefighter will need to give a mayday call to inform his fellow firefighters that he needs help. The recruits were not aware the floor would drop or of the prop in this exercise.
Yeah, it's great training. I mean, kind of the initial drop scares you a little bit, but then like to be able to gather your thoughts and like kind of assess what happened.
Rory says so far the first 5 weeks of training with the Franklin Fire Department have prepared him well.
It's awesome. It's way better than I thought it was going to be. It was going here from Ohio. I mean, it's much better down here. I mean, they have so many things at their disposal that we didn't have up there. I just feel like I'm learning a lot more, especially with having a little bit of experience coming in. You learn a lot more because you have things to compare to. So, yeah, it's going real well.
On this early morning, the recruits are learning how to handle a highway tanker emergency.
The recruits are given a full foam class, how to set up a foam evolution, and then also some hazmat, helping them to identify what the product is and if indeed it is an application for foam. They've identified that this is a gasoline tanker that's on fire, so they set up a foam evolution. Now they're going to advance their lines with the foam, see if they can extinguish the fire.
The following week, the recruits learn how to rescue a trapped driver from wreckage after a car crash. Franklin Fire Department covers a large portion of Interstate 65 where crashes like these can happen. This exercise gives them the opportunity for hands-on training.
Today we're talking to the new recruits about extrication, just trying to get them a little bit familiar with our tools and the process that we use during an extrication during the MVC. Today we showed them how to pop the doors on the front and pop the doors on the back. We also did a partial roof cut, and with our second group we're going to do complete the roof cut. We also demonstrated rolling the dash in case we had an entanglement of the brake pedals. We showed them how to push the dash up. So today's orientation is just mostly to get them familiar with the way that we do things. It's not a certification for them.
Now that the training is over, it's graduation day, and families have traveled from far and wide to congratulate the young recruits as they begin their career with the Franklin Fire Department. For the guys, it's a day they've been waiting for.
The graduating class here of these recruits and now firefighters. Let's give them a hand.
Oh, I highly recommend this program. This was the best training that I've had thus far in the fire service.
Just happy to get it over with and finally get back on shift, or get to shift and just get to work, ready to get going.
Just happy to be done. That's pretty much it. I'm just tired of seeing these guys' faces.
And that's a first-hand look at the life of a Franklin Fire recruit. If you are interested in learning more about the Franklin Fire Department, please go to our website at www.franklintn.gov and go to the Fire Department main page. Job postings are posted in our Human Resources Department with an employment link at the top of our main page of our website. Thank you for watching.